Did you know that Forza Horizon 3 was the first in the series to introduce custom soundtracks within the game through linking through groove music? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 102. My name's Gareth Bronny. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Oh, hello. Sorry, just having a sip of tea there. All good, thank you. How are you guys?
You haven't been on for a while, Richard. Last time I spoke to you, you were in London.
I was under the flight path of London City Airport.
You were doing a great job for us at EGX. And on my virtual right is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
I am doing very well, thank you, Gareth.
I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago on the 100th.
You did. I was very honoured to be there. When I think didn't James humiliate you on the quiz?
He did, but the quiz was written for idiots, so I think it was fine.
How rude! I put 10 minutes of work into that.
Right, gentlemen, what have we got loads to go through this week. So, what have we been doing this week, though, Richard? What have you been up to?
I went to a Halloween party at a friend's house.
Okay.
With the customary dressing up. I decided to go as one of the guards from Squid Game.
Oh, good.
And I was surprised actually that no one else had gone Squid Game, so I was quite pleased with that. I thought whilst it didn't have much imagination, I was impressed that I was the only one.
Did you have a boiler suit on then? A boiler suit? Is that what they wore?
Yeah. I got a boiler suit, got the mask that had a triangle on the front, and a blow-up assault rifle.
Brilliant. I've got to see pictures of this, Richard. Please send us to us later on. That could be the thumbnail for the podcast. Facebook. Yeah.
Laura was on. Laura did Maleficent. She looked really good. But yeah, this party was just great. It was nice to see. So there was a lot of people I'd not met before because it was my friend and his partner, and she invited all her friends that we'd not met before. But yeah, it had a bit of everything. There was a little bit of dancing, a little bit of drama.
Ooh,
so
drama.
It was just everything you want. Everything
what
you wanted
drama?
from a party. So one of my friend's partner's mates, she turned up. They're a few years younger than the rest of us. But she brought a friend with her who no one knew. She was like a complete stranger to everyone. We don't know why she brought her. But yeah, she started stealing people's drinks.
Oh no!
Which was, I mean, luckily she didn't steal mine. But I just thought she only stole one person's drinks, and it was the person that was hosting the party. And I just thought, what a rookie mistake this is. Like, I'm not condoning stealing drinks at all, but if you're going to steal drinks, don't let it be from the person whose house you're in.
Wow. I don't get any of this anymore, Richard. When you turn my age, you're there for an hour and a half and then you go home quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I'm a similar age to Gareth, so we're beyond all this kind of stuff.
You can live through me and my party lifestyle. If you like.
We'll look forward to regular updates about it.
Every time I go out now, I just get bored in about an hour. It's very hard.
That's exactly it. Do you know what the best thing is about being our age, though, Gareth? You know, when we were young and we were doing all the stupid things that kids do, there was no social media. So there's no record of it. It's like it never happened.
No, exactly. Exactly.
I will say that it was a bit of a mistake on my part going to a party and drinking alcohol, which makes you need the toilet more, and then we're having to wear a boiler suit. I should have thought of this a bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Adult diaper.
Paul, what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Nothing as exciting as Dobbo, unfortunately. I've been pat testing all of the electrical equipment at work. I'm currently up to 300 items and counting. Today, my laptop blew up, which had got the records of these 300 items that I'd tested. So that made me rather sad. But then the boss said, "Oh, just buy yourself a new one." So I went and spent 800 quid on a new laptop. So that made me feel a bit better.
See, this is what we want to hear about, Richard. We don't want to hear about your wild sex parties. We want to hear about pat testing.
I was going to say, I don't remember him mentioning sex. I think you're projecting there.
Oh, it was there. It was there. It was rife with it.
I can talk about pat testing if you want. I worked for a call centre that did pat testing once.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? Did you do it yourself?
No, we contracted it out, but I was the one ringing. I was the one cold calling people asking if they wanted it.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, the pat testing is not as exciting as it looks.
No.
You know, if you've plugged one screen into a pat tester and then you've plugged in 300 of them, it does get old pretty quick.
Listeners, if you've got any pat testing stories, please write into
us. Yes, we'd be delighted to hear from it. So we always like interaction with our listener.
Yeah, exactly. This week, I haven't really got much, but I'm going to have a little rant. Rant. This could be a weekly thing. Here we go. When I was looking through our stuff, I was looking through what's coming out in November, which is great. We'll talk about that in a minute. But with GTA coming out soon, and we've got Skyrim coming out on Game Pass again.
Yay!
I've had enough of it. I've had enough of going back to kind of old games and just re-releasing old games and people getting excited about playing old games again. I know, Richard, you're going to talk about GTA. I can understand the GTA thing. But I get worried that we're just in this kind of world of like, we think something was great in the past because it was. In 2003, we played it and it was great and we loved it. And we want to get back to that again. And that's why we want to go back to these remasters and these things again. But it's never quite the same, is it? We know we're going to get GTA. We know we're going to open it. And it's got a little bit of an upgrade on the visuals, a little bit upgrade on the missions, as in you can save and you don't have to start again. It's not going to be the same, is it? And I get really worried in the games world that all we're doing is focusing because they know they can make a lot of money for it, especially with Skyrim. And they just spending all this time re-releasing remasters and everything. Just make GTA 6. That's my rant. It's annoyed me this week.
It's a very valid point, though. I do agree.
I think it's a fault with lots of things. I think we have a vision of what the past is with everything, without getting too deep. And we all do. I kind of remember playing games. I go, oh God, that feeling of playing Skyrim for the first time. Amazing. You know, just this amazing kind of going out into that world and just that enjoying. And when you get the idea of it being re-released and playing it again, you're like, absolutely, I want to get that feeling back again. But you're not going to get that feeling back again because you go into Skyrim and it looks not great. It looks like a 10-year-old game. And things have moved on. And you've done it once. There you go. Sorry.
I do have a solution to your problem, Gareth.
Good.
Don't play it.
Exactly. But the problem is it's everywhere. Game. Exactly. But the problem is there's too much of this, I think. And I want the game developers to make new stuff all the time. Don't mind sequels. Which gets us onto the game that Paul has been playing. He's got us there. Paul, you've been a very lucky boy, haven't you? Tell us about it.
I have been a very lucky boy. I was given code for Forza Horizon 5 to play for review. And, you know, I've been seeing the review roundups today where it's got a raft of perfect scores. And they're all right. Every single person who's given this thing like 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 is bang on the money. It is the most extraordinary looking game I have played ever. You know, you think of Forza Horizon 4, how it was fantastic when it came out, but Forza Horizon 5 just beats it and leaves it in the corner for dead. It's unbelievable. The opening sequence when you're dropping I'm in a bit of a quandary here as to how much detail to go in, because I don't want to spoil it for people who are going to see it. But let's just say that the opening sequence is breathtaking, and that's not a word I use lightly.
Wow, where you go? Wow.
Honestly, it's Neil sent me the code, the editor, and I started the game, and 20 minutes later I had to message him back going, and I think the message just said, "It is glorious." and it is.
I thought your message was going to be, "I love you."
Well, that was in a subsequent message.
Paul, can I ask some questions? And then maybe Richard's got questions.
You can certainly ask as many questions. I encourage you to ask questions, Gareth.
How is it better? Because 4 was brilliant, wasn't it? 3 was brilliant.
4 was fantastic, yeah.
And how is it better? How has it moved on?
It's just the scale of the landscape. With the best will in the world, Britain is not as big as Mexico. Let's put it that way. So there isn't obviously driving from Edinburgh down to, the Lake District or wherever, you can see the change in the scenery, but it's nothing like it is in Mexico. 1 minute you're tearing through some city streets, the next minute you're in the middle of a jungle, the next minute you're on top of a volcano looking at the lava in the crater. It's just so different. The weather that comes out of nowhere is unbelievable. There's tornadoes, there's tropical storms. The lighting is just unbelievable. You're driving along and the sky starts getting dark, and then it starts to rain, and then you feel like you're clinging onto the road to stop from being blown over the edge of a mountain. It's just, words fail me somehow, but I've got to somehow put this into words and write a review for it. But pretty much the review is going to be, yes, it's expletive deleted awesome, go and get it.
And how many hours you've been playing so far? You only had it a couple of days, a day.
I've only had it a couple of days. I tend to sit down at 7:00 when the family have gone to bed. The wife works at ridiculous o'clock in the morning. It's not I'm sending her off to bed so I can play games. So
it is a little bit of that, though.
Well, I feel like I'm fairly lucky that she has to get up at 2:00 in the morning to go to work. So, she goes to bed early. So I've got the telly to myself all night. It's great. But yeah, I'll sit down about 7:00 after Wheeler Dealers. You have to watch that first. And then I'll be playing, and then I'll look at my watch and it's midnight and I think, blimey, where's the last 5 hours gone? And then I'll play it before I go to work in the morning. And then when I'm at work, supposed to be working, I'll be thinking about playing it when I get home at night. So it's just so good.
Rich, have you got a question before I plough in with more?
Yeah. Have you listened to many of the radio stations?
Of course. There is the good thing about the radio stations this time is the DJs. You know how in Forza Horizon 4 they were all kind of British people, and the guy who did the classical radio station was very posh and sounded like Gareth. This time they're all Mexican people, so they've got the accent and they're using the language correct for Mexico. It's like Spanish, and it's brilliant. I mean, I like the rock one. There's some good songs on that. And I like the classical one. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of banging tunes for the youth. But I'm a bit old for that now, so I'll stick with rock or classical. That's
nice.
My jams.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so looking forward. Can I just ask you, are you playing in quality mode or performance mode? What did you choose? It's a performance mode, which is like rates per second, or you can do it with all the graphical enhancements on?
I've tried it in both.
Okay.
And whether it's just my aging eyes, I can't see much of a difference.
Yeah.
I think I prefer it in performance mode, because the speed of the game is just unreal.
Right.
The rate that it throws things at you is just. So yeah, I went for performance, but quality mode is fantastic as well. I mean, the game looks incredible.
Great.
Okay. And it's and I'm playing on a Series X. So,
and are you have you played online yet? I know we're going to do it next week, all of us. What's it like, online matches?
Online matches are fine. There's no lag or anything else that I've been able to detect. There's a few new little bits now as well. Before there was like playground games where you could do all of the silly chase each other around games. But now there's something called Horizon Arcade, where you drive into a certain area of the map and it just gives you a series of tasks that you have to complete. It can be something as daft as beat your horn 2 times to, perform 15 great drifts or whatever. And so, yeah, that's all gravy as well. All the online modes seem to be there. Because the game's not properly out yet, there's not very many people there. I mean, there's quite a few, obviously other reviewers and stuff. But I imagine when it goes into early release tomorrow, it's just going to be swamped with players. And I can't wait to see how it copes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it does look fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Is it there's an exploration mode where you can just go and sightsee? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just wander around. It seems to be pretty much like it was in Forza Horizon 4. Where you could go and find beauty spots. It's similar to that, but you can just get your off-road car and drive into the jungle and see what you can find. Setting up new outposts for the Horizon Festival is also quite entertaining. They'll give you an area, and then you've got to achieve certain tasks within that area. Right. And then you'll get an expansion to it. And the expansions are tied to certain types of racing, so you can concentrate on the type of racing that you like best if you prefer. So you could put all of your expansion into street racing, say, or into road racing. Yeah. But I've done like one of each. I've got off-road and cross-country and everything in there. And honestly, it's absolutely massive. Apparently the map is, I think I read this, 50% bigger than the one for Forza Horizon 4.
Wow.
And it is, when you open it up and you look at all the events you've got to play, it's just like, my goodness.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Richard, you got another question before I ask my last one?
Have you been to the top of the mountain yet?
I have been to the top of the volcano. I don't think I've been to the highest point in the game yet.
Okay,
good. My question is the one I've just forgotten, but it's a good one. It was a very good one.
Well, in that case, the answer is yes.
Good. No, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's really great. So us mere mortals are going to play it on the 9th. Now, do we have to do anything before we can play together multiplayer? Can you play straight away? We've got to do a half an hour begin.
There's a sequence at the beginning,
right,
where you have to get to the Horizon Festival. Like it's traditional in these games. Yeah. But after that, you can do whatever you want.
Brilliant. Paul, thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
You're very welcome.
Oh, there we go. Forza Horizon 5 coming out tomorrow, early access on the 5th and the 9th on Tuesday, and Game Pass for everyone. Wow. Mm-hmm. Now, Richard, you've also been playing a game that's been getting pretty good reviews, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly, actually. It's another open world sports title, but this one is called Riders Republic. It's more an extreme sports event, so you get to do skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, and then you get given, it's essentially like a jetpack with wings. Or you get a wingsuit as well, but then you get a rocket-powered one as well. And it sort of plays out a little bit like Forza Horizon 5 sounds. So there's these various different events, and you can pick which one you want to do. So if you wanted to do mountain bike racing, you could focus on those events and level up through that basically skill tree. But it's an interesting world. So this one's based on some of the national parks from America, which is kind of similar. So did you play Steep?
I did play Steep, yeah.
So I think that was based on real world mountain ranges. It's all sort of fused together into the one map, and it's similar to what they've done here in Riders Republic. They've taken sections from American national parks, where apparently a lot of this extreme sports happen in real life anyway, and have fused them all together into this one big open world that you can travel between. But I feel like it's quite an old school game, so it reminds me a lot of the old SSX titles when you're doing the snowboarding and the skiing, because you can do lots of tricks on them. There's racing and there's trick-based events as well for those. But it's been good. I've enjoyed it. There's a lot to it, but I think my main worry is once I finish these events for each discipline, then I feel like there's no need for me to sort of do that discipline anymore.
Okay.
Because you can sort of drop in, drop out. You've got plenty of fast travel points, and then you've got various other modes of transport to help you get to the events themselves. But I wouldn't. So you get a rocket powered bicycle, which is great fun to use. But I wouldn't ever use a traditional bike to get to a location, or I would only use the bike in the event, if you see what I mean. But then once I do all the bike events, I have no need to sort of use the bike again, unless it's the rocket powered one.
Yeah. I think I know
So
what you mean.
there's a lot there, but I think once you've finished that discipline and you've finished the boss event and you've become the master of it, I feel like you've exhausted it. So I'm not sure how they'll keep it going. I mean, there's plenty of online multiplayer. I've tried to join one of the big 64 player races, and it ended up being me and one other guy. So I'm not sure. I think there is a couple of server issues, but
I mean, that's how it's advertised, isn't it? That's their big push with it. It's this online. You know, that's what the trailers were really. All these people competing in racing,
but
and
they don't run at all times. You'll get a notification if there's one about to go live, and I think the expectation is everyone sort of drops what they're doing and runs over to it.
Right.
But only me and one other guy were in it, and then by the end of it, he dropped out. So it was me on my own finishing the final race.
So you won.
I won, but
fantastic.
I also came last. If you want to look at it that way.
When did it come into fruition? It's like October 28th or something.
Yeah, last week I think it went live. Probably.
That is a worry.
It was strange, but I think I've tried to join a couple, and this was the first time that I was allowed to join it properly. But I'm not sure whether it's a lack of people trying to join these mass races or whether it's a server issue.
Right.
But it was still quite fun. So that race, for example, rather than it being one discipline throughout the entire race, you'll get to checkpoints and then it'll suddenly change. So you could be on a bike, hit this checkpoint, and then you'll suddenly start skiing down the hill. So they're quite fun. And I imagine with 64 people, it's just going to be absolute carnage.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just me and one other guy for the time being.
What are you going to give it, Richard?
I think it's going to get 4 stars.
Okay.
It's good. I think it's got vistas as well to view, and they're absolutely stunning. But then it's a Ubisoft game, so there's 500 collectibles to find and everything else. So there's still a lot to go at.
I mean, I think it's generally getting 8s and 4s all the way through, isn't it? And I think there are people saying servers are a problem. It's just how, like you said, it's longevity of it, isn't it? Oh, fireworks, by the way. It's fireworks night. So here in London, it's fireworks for about 4 weeks.
Are you sure it wasn't a gunshot?
It might be a gunshot. That's it.
waiting to hear the obligatory police car go past as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Good. Right. Thank you, Richard. Now, a game I'm not adding these big games. I'll be doing the indie games. That would be me. But one game I've been playing is a game called Bloodshaw that came out on the 3rd, I think. And it's Wales Interactive. It's one of their latest full motion video games. I played it about a week and a half ago, and the reviews just come out. And it's set in this fictional kind of world where there's a reality TV show called Kill Switch, I think. Yeah, Kill Switch. Maybe I got that wrong. Kill Switch. But the idea of that thing is it's like a battle royale game. So real sort of like Z-list celebrities who are sort of like Instagrammers or like down their luck actors join up, and they go onto this. They get transported onto this island, like 100 of them, and then they have to kill each other one by one. Of course, like a battle royale. And what you do is you follow this kind of group, because they all go in groups around the island, of groups of about 6 or 8, and you follow this kind of group of 6 or 8 people as they land, and then you play the kind of lead part, who's this kind of ex-Hollywood actor who's down his luck, but he's got he's got a hidden agenda, because this TV show is about season 5 or something, and there's suspicious stuff going on with the way it's operating, and there's a rebellion against it from abroad. So what you do is you see the kind of like the people in the island, but also you see the presenter of the show who's mad, and all the kind of little sub things and the audience reactions. So you see a lot of people watching the program and then going, oh, and reacting to it, or picking their favourites as they go through. And then as it's a full motion video game, you just get the choice to go one way or the other. And there's different endings, there's different routes that you can take through. Normal kind of full motion video stuff done. Do you know what? It's good fun. I think the problem with some of the full motion video stuff, when they become too serious, or they tried serious horror or serious drama, it doesn't quite work, because the budgets are quite low on the filming, because they have to be. They're not, but they look good. But when it's a bit campier, like this one is, and a bit more kind of the idea is ridiculous, and they do some really kind of clever kind of like little film edits, and the editing's really good. It's really fast paced, which is great. It works. It's like when I reviewed Dark Nights with Poe and Moreau, who recently, that was a brilliant one, because that was very campy, really like a really good fun, really didn't take itself too seriously. It's the same with this one, and it's the idea behind it's great. It has that battle royale. It's on trend with that battle royale love at the moment, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, there isn't much gameplay there. You just literally choose to go left or right, or save someone or unsave someone. But it's if you like your full motion video games, this is it's one of the best ones, I think. Bloodshaw. What's really nice is, I'll tell you one more thing. It's great, which I really like. They because obviously they filmed it like somewhere, I don't know, in England, maybe on some kind of island. Not even an island, it's probably in some woods, right? the people who land keep going, didn't they have the last season they were on a beach location? Where's the beach huts? This is awful here. They sort of like referencing how bad it looks, which I really like. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good fun. One more game, Paul, from you, please. One more.
One. Yeah. Oh, I think I'm going to choose Nuclear Throne then, which is like a small indie kind of top-down twin-stick shooter. If you've ever played Enter the Gungeon, think of that, but with slightly more retro graphics. And basically the story of the game is that it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but there are no surviving members of humanity. The only things that are left alive are like mutants. So the characters that you can choose, you can have like some guy who's melting, and there's a plant you can choose, and a fish man who looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. And it's a roguelike, top-down, bullet hell shooter, I think, if I remember correctly. Wow. So you get one life. Each run is completely separate. And the idea is that you go through these levels, you kill the baddies, you pick up radiation, which is how you level up. And as you level up, you can choose extra mutations. So you might get like tougher skin or extra arms that allow you to reload faster and all sorts of things. And it's fast, it's furious, and it's another one of those games where you sort of look up and it's 3 hours later and you think, where did the time go? Because it's really got that hook of, I'll just have one more go. And then that turns into 20 more goes. And so, yeah, it's quite enjoyable, Nuclear Throne. I think I gave it 4.5 on the review.
Oh, wow. Is it roguelike when you die and you've got to restart from the beginning?
Yes, you start from the very beginning with a complete fresh character and off you pop again. So you can choose a random character or you can choose a character that you like. Also, as you get further into the game, you unlock new characters. So you can always find somebody that you like the look of.
Wow, okay. Nuclear Throne. Good.
Nuclear Throne, very good.
Richard, what's your next one?
My next one's at the opposite end of the excitement spectrum to Riders Republic. But I've also been playing Unpacking this week, which is a very zen-like game where you literally unpack boxes. I don't know how else to describe it. You get given a room, and there is an overarching story that happens, but someone's basically moving house, or they're moving into a shared flat or wherever, and so they take their belongings with them, and you have to unpack the boxes, find a place for these belongings. As long as it's not the floor, I've realised the game won't let you progress if you put anything on the floor. That's the only real rule.
Like a settee.
Yeah, well, all the furniture's there. It's more like your items, like your books and your memorabilia and stuff. Or you can go into the kitchen and you've got your pots and pans to unpack and plates and stuff. But it's just a very, very relaxing experience. Completely unlike unpacking boxes in real life. It's weird. Like, there's nothing worse, I think, than moving house and having to unpack boxes and finding space for everything. But in this game, it's just the most relaxing thing ever. Everything can be sort of changed how you see fit as well. So there's for example, I unpacked a little, a mini mannequin, and you can cycle through different poses using the B button to get the pose that you like, and you can you're unpacking in the bathroom. You can hang your towel up, or you can put your toothbrush on the sink, or you can then unpack a mug and put it in a mug on the sink and stuff like that. But then you can also unpack toilet roll, and you can choose which way that you want the toilet roll to face. And there's definitely a right way and a wrong way for that.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
So I picked the right way.
Obviously.
But it's also the one thing that stands out, though, and it's something that I don't think will get enough praise, but it's absolutely incredible, is the sound design in it. So it's a very pixel art game, but no matter where you drop the object, it will have a different sound. So if you were to drop it elsewhere, and it's something so minimal, but it's just so well done is the sound. I think there's a video going around on Twitter at the moment where there's a guy that's got like a deodorant bottle, and he's just dropping it on different surfaces, and he's making these, and you notice each sound is completely different. So you could drop it on a ceramic sink, for example, and it would sound different to putting it on the toilet basin and stuff. And it's something that's so overlooked, but it really, really adds to like the design of this game, and it's something that many people won't even pick up on, but it's really, really well done.
Oh, good.
That does sound good. I was watching. I can't remember what I was watching, but there was. I think there was a young lad playing unpacking, and he unpacked a GameCube, and he had literally no idea what it was, and that made me feel really, really old.
Yeah. We are old, Paul. We are old.
I tell you, it's terrible, isn't it, Gareth?
Yeah, it is.
I've still got my GameCube, if that makes you feel any better.
There you go.
Well, yeah, there's one on my son's desk. It's, but it's just, this fellow was like, "What's this? What do I do with this?" It's like, it's a GameCube.
That's on Game Pass as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It was part of the Humble games, so I think a lot of their stuff is dropping straight into Game Pass.
Yeah. Good. Very quickly, the last one I've got is Backbone, which came out on Game Pass last week. Backbone's a sort of narrative adventure, almost like a point and clicker. Has that kind of pixel art feel to it. You play a raccoon private detective in this world where everyone is dressed like humans but are animals. Right? So like people run clubs of foxes, and you, like a detective noir, you go out on a journey to help a client whose husband's gone missing. She thinks she's having an affair, and then you go off and investigate. And very soon something horrific happens, where you find out the fate of her husband, which leads on to a massive conspiracy. The game's, I really enjoyed it. It has this brilliant 2.5D kind of visual look that they do the city beautifully done. You can see it by some of the trailers and art stars that come out. It's really, really well, really beautifully designed. The problem is it's the story's in two halves. Like the first half is this like detective noir kind of funny kind of story, and the second half it goes into mad world of sci-fi. So mad. It's like it tries to do too much in that time, but I don't know whether I like that or not. I can't work it out. I think it's upset certain people. They just don't, it tries to do too much without giving anything away. But yeah, it's on Game Pass, so give it a go. It's worth it. I mean, takes you about 5-6 hours to complete. It's really good. If you like sort of like point and clickers, it's really basic point and clickers as well. It's none of this inventory management or trying to combine items. It's just like go here, go there, listen to that. Dialogue choices that don't really make a difference, but it's good. Backbone. I'm rushing through. I know we've got loads to do. Let's do news now. We just saw today, the three of us. It was on today at 2 p.m. Elden Ring.
Oh yes.
Gameplay. 15 minutes of gameplay was revealed. Gentlemen, what do we think? Let's start with Paul. What did you think first of all?
I thought it looked very, very good. I was very impressed. I like the magic horse that he keeps in his pocket. That's quite an impressive feat. I love that the horse can run over these spirit things and bounce 300 feet up into the air and be fine. I thought that was very good. The combat, it just made me think Dark Souls, but turned up a bit. I mean, there were so many cues from the Dark Souls universe just in that little video. The little glowing objects that you can pick up, and the bonfires that are not called bonfires anymore. Even the effect from the healing flask was just pure Dark Souls. But the combat looked fantastic. And the scale of the bosses that it showed as well, I was very impressed by.
We saw about 3 boss fights, didn't we?
Yes,
I think
we did.
And the first boss fight was really interesting because it's against this kind of dragon thing, and you see the character on foot fighting, but also using the horse as well, which is switching between those two, which is kind of amazing, which has a completely different feel to it.
And it was also switching between the melee combat and the magic as well, which was quite impressive.
Which is
as well.
really different, isn't it? And then also you've got summons as well on top of that. You can summon people to fight.
The little spirit guys, they look great. I loved it when he summoned like 4 of them, I think. And they were all different types. There was like the big slow guy with the club and the little quick guys. And it was just like this has got my attention. I mean, it was on my radar anyway, but it really is now.
It really is. Richard, what do you think?
I was a bit shocked when it first started because it sort of goes into this world, and the world looks absolutely beautiful. But I was shocked to see so much greenery. I was like, this is very unlike a Dark Souls game from software. And I think what we'd been shown before sort of made it look a bit more medieval, perhaps, but then it opens up into this almost like an open world. It felt like,
Yeah,
especially with the map, and being able to drop markers and stuff. I think it's taken a lot of cues from previous open worlds in that sense, but yeah. So I've not watched all of it yet, I'll be honest. But the bits that I did see, so he was going. There was that carriage that had some treasure in, and he was planning on going to that. And I just thought, I think there's going to be a main quest to do, but it looks like there's going to be plenty of side activities. And he helped that pot called Alexander, was it? Which I think that did give me Dark Souls vibes, that he was meeting these quirky looking characters on their journey. But I noticed as well that each time it sort of faded to black, it appeared with like almost a different character. So there was a lot of different outfits on display as well. So there looks like there's going to be a ton of customization as well.
I think the open world thing is really interesting because I think they were showing that as we saw him riding through on the horse, and we saw this kind of group of enemies that he would just leave and then drive past.
Yes,
and that was kind of like, that's a very new thing, I think, because I think before even though people would argue that the other Dark Souls are kind of open world, because you have got this area that you come out and you can go different possibilities, you're just not leveled up enough to get through those. But this felt a lot more. There was people in the comments going, "This is like Assassin's Creed at the moment because of that horse and the nature of this huge kind of world." But yeah, I was really impressed by it. I just thought, this is really exciting, even though it's going to kill me and I'll be dead a lot. But I love a Dark Souls game still. I love kind of trying with it, and I think this one just seems. I think it's like what Paul just said: the idea that you can switch between magic, summoning, and weapons as well is really interesting.
I think it looked a lot more approachable as well. So after the Dark Souls trilogy, they sort of went to one extreme with Sekiro, and I reviewed Sekiro, and I just felt that they'd made it too difficult. It was really for the diehards and the sadists, I felt, with that one. But from what I've seen of Elden Ring, it seems a bit more approachable for newcomers. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I'm just that was the impression that I got.
When you see the last boss fight, you really go, "Oh my god!" That's
you'll be going actually, my son I was watching the video when I got home, and my son sat next to me to watch it because he loves video games as well, and he said he was getting Breath of the Wild vibes from it as well.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, "This looks like a cross between Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild." So, I mean, if you're going to set your stall out to emulate a couple of games, I mean, you could pick worse ones, couldn't you?
Exactly.
So,
what also was really kind of interesting was of course, they introduced the idea that you can summon friends as well to fight them, so it becomes co-op, which is good. So we saw a bit of that, didn't we? Which is exciting, and a little bit of a boss battle against this knight on a horse.
They also mentioned the PvP part and invasions is going to be there as well, which I always hated.
Yeah,
because these bright red guys would just turn up, slaughter me, and then run away laughing. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, cheers for that, mate."
But I think you're both right about it. It just looks beautiful. It looks like a next. It's going to be. There's some big old games coming out next year. I don't mean big, but world builders. Huge, big adventures going on. This is coming out 25th of Feb, and you've got Horizon on PlayStation at that time. You've got that Tina Turner's Wonderland, I call it. It's amazing. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And so you got all those kind of like massive games in February. Yeah, it's going to be, and we'll talk about it a bit later, but I think it's about those power. Even though this is coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, it's still that kind of power of these new consoles. We're going to start to see what they can do a bit more. Exciting though. I'm in.
Yes.
Who's going to
Do you
review
know,
that one?
This whole conversation now is just ruined for me because I just want to play Tina Turner's
You
Wonderland.
do. Yeah. Yeah. You do,
It would
absolutely.
be great. You have to strut around in these great big heels and a massive wig.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brilliant. There you go. Who's going to review that? Who's
Me.
the best person for it? Oh my god.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
There's not a game.
I don't want to do that.
Do you
one.
want to review?
I think I had to do Dart Souls. 1 Dart Soul at one point. 3, I think. God.
Oh, good grief.
Just a quick mention of the Game Pass, what's coming out in November, which is quite interesting because I think there's been a lot of kind of publicity about it, saying it's kind of a mad thing. So today we talked about unpacking. It Takes Two is coming out, which is the best one of the Game of the Year contenders. Have you two played that? I think you have, haven't you?
I
No.
haven't. I held off buying it, and I'm quite glad I did now.
Yeah, you're going to have great fun with that.
Yeah.
Kill It With Fire, which is Darren's reviewed for us, I think, which is out today. And then you got Football Manager 2022, which is a big one. It came out last year on Game Pass. I know. And of course, same day as Forza Horizon 5. Grand Theft Auto.
I was going to say, I know which one I'm going to be playing.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which is the new remastered thing. Elder Scrolls on the same day. Microsoft Flight Simulator Game of the Year, which is all the added, and you're going to kill your console with about 300 gigs worth of stuff. And then Undungeon and Evil Genius 2. So it's a big old month, isn't it, of free games there?
It is.
Yeah.
It's
less than 2 weeks later, you've got Halo Infinite as well.
That's kind of mad. Interestingly, Battlefield's coming out again, which I forgot about because it got delayed until the 24th. And they just talked about they're getting a little bit thing, and they've got their 10 hours free on EA Play or on Game Pass Ultimate is coming out. That might be enough for me.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm thinking the same. After playing the beta, it's just like, well, no story, no sale. I'm afraid, EA. Sorry.
What did you think about the beta? Because I don't think we
the beta was good. I mean,
right.
It was typical Battlefield. There were some of the most fantastic gaming moments that I've had online have been in Battlefield games. Like there's in the map that we were playing, and we were playing Conquest. One of the flags was right on top of a skyscraper, and the only way to get to it was to either go into the bottom of the building and run up all the stairs and then get killed by the guy who was camping the stairwell at the top, or to fly in with an aircraft. But I was driving a tank at this time, and I could see all these people because people were spotting them. So you see the little triangles, and they were all on top of this skyscraper. So I drove my tank onto a hill and shot as high as I could and landed a shell right in the middle of all these people and got like 5 kills from it. So I was like, yes! That's the sort of thing that you can only do in Battlefield.
Yeah.
But, the gunplay was nice. I liked that you could have... you could mix and match the classes if you like. So if you spawn in as a sniper in his Wookiee suit, you could then say, okay, well, next time I respawn, I don't want the sniper rifle, I want the engineer's kit so I can kill the tanks with the rocket launcher. But you'd still be running around looking like a sniper, but with an engineer's kit. So, I liked all that, the mix and match stuff. The gunplay was good. The map was enormous. If you were a little bit late spawning in and all the vehicles were gone, you were running for like 10 minutes to get to the first flag.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was Battlefield, but much bigger. The scale of the map was very, very good. It took a good sort of 2 or 3 minutes to fly across it in a helicopter.
Right. And Richard, you were championing this, weren't you? You were talking about you were looking forward to it.
Yeah. I've never played a Battlefield game before though. But I think this one. So is it Battlefield Portal? Is it called Portal?
Oh, yeah.
Where you can sort of remix previous maps. I mean, that looks interesting, and I think but I think a lot of people that have played previous battle games will get a lot more enjoyment out of that. I'm just intrigued to see these huge maps and the environmental effects on them, because I think there's some really special looking moments in these maps. But yeah, I think that the 10 hours, I agree with you too. Being online only could well be enough for me as well.
I think that's their big risk. I'm worried for them for this, because I think, the reason when they've had the Battlefields before, you're a lot of people going for the campaign and they're trying the multiplayer, and then you have people stay or you have people leave. Me, 10 hours will be fine. I'm never going to play more than that unless it really hooks me. I don't think it will, because by that time everyone will be really good at it. And I'll just be dying a lot or fixing tanks from the back for someone else. So it's not. Yeah, you're going to lose those people who would have bought. I would have bought the game before for the campaign.
Yeah,
there's no need now.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
There's
sirens. I'm intrigued to see how this goes for them. But
in a way, I kind of hope that it does badly because it doesn't have a campaign. Because I don't want this to be the model for all the Battlefield games going forward. I don't want them thinking the campaign's a waste of time. I've had some really good times in the campaigns in Battlefield. I mean, the Bad Company 2 one was fantastic. So yeah, I mean, I am concerned by this because you can guarantee that there's no campaign, but I'll bet there'll be a battle royale mode. Which I really don't like.
No. Good, gentlemen. Now, the last 5 to 10 minutes we've got with you, it's nearly the anniversary of when we've got the Series X and the PlayStation 5 came out. We've had them for a year nearly, these big machines. What are your thoughts? Now, Paul, you got yours in Jan, didn't you, or December?
I got it in December. On Christmas Eve, in fact.
And Richard, you got yours pretty soon away. Did you get yours
on day one?
Day one, So, it's a weird one this time, isn't it? Because I don't think we've seen what the thing can do only on a couple of games. It feels like we've got it, but we don't know the true power of it yet. Some people might say that about the Xbox One X. It has this huge machine. It's great. It's it doesn't make a sound. It all works. It's so quick. Loading screens are great. I like it a lot. I couldn't ever go back, but I haven't really seen that full potential yet. What about you two? What's your thoughts on a year down the road?
Do you want to go first, Richard?
Oh, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome, mate.
Very nice, you too.
Yeah, I can see. I agree with that. I feel like we've still barely scratched the surface of it. There's not been many Series X specific games that have come out. I can think of the Medium, Judgment remaster, which again was a remaster, so it didn't really need the Series X capabilities. But I think feature-wise, it's a massive improvement over the PS5. What I've probably mentioned this before. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have mentioned it before. The smart delivery feature was sort of touted as a big thing, but it was dismissed as like a bit of a gimmick. But how simple that works compared to trying to upgrade from a PS4 version to a PS5 version, which is just a massive pain in the ass. But I don't know. I think that's me being polite about it. I just find it such a pain to do that. But it just seems to work on the Xbox. It'll give you the best version. I've got stuff sort of defaulting to install on my external hard drive, but it's like, oh, if you want the Series X capabilities, you want to put this on your internal hard drive. And it's like, yeah, let me do that then, and it'll download the best version straight away without me having to worry about it. I think that's probably my favorite feature from this year. But as well, I was just going to say, I think we've still not seen the best the Series X can produce. I think they've only really played what I would consider one truly next-gen title this year, but it was Ratchet and Clank. So as much as I berate the PS5 for confusing different versions of the games, I feel like that's had a better first year in terms of games still.
Yeah. I think the PS5 had that Returnal as well.
Yes.
Which was a great, that really showed you, the speed of stuff and that kind of like, and maybe a bit Deathloop as well, but I think Deathloop runs on the PS4 anyway, and it would be Xbox One again here and Xbox Series X. Paul, what about you? What's your highs and your lows?
My highs are the same as you guys. The smart delivery thing is just fantastic. You choose to install a game. It gives you the best version. Bosh, thanks very much. I also like the quick resume. Because there's games that I haven't played for ages, and then I'll say, I haven't played that for a while. I'll put it on, and it just goes quick resume, and you're back at exactly where you were, which I think is really, really clever. Lows, I think. I don't know if there've been any lows really. I mean, there's some odd things. I mean, the flip side of the quick resume is that certain games don't seem to work if you use it. I've just reviewed the version XS version of Pumpkin Jack, and if you don't hard reset your console before you play the game, it refuses to load. You have to restart the console and go straight into the game. Because
Paul? I've had the same thing with a lot of games, especially indie games. Yeah, because we review a lot of the codes. Yeah, we play those games. Yeah, I've had to. Like, you'll get to the title screen and you press A to continue, and it won't work. So you have to reboot. Yeah, it happens a lot. Yeah.
Pumpkin Jack doesn't even load. You get like the loading little symbols on the bottom right hand side of the screen, and then it just dashboards you again.
Right.
So that's something that needs looking at, I think, because it's happened on a few games.
Probably with the indie games rather than the big ones, isn't it? I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite possibly.
I've had it a different way. I've had it with the big open worlds that have got online components. I feel like any game that's got an online component and has quick resume will need to be restarted from the main menu because it's kicked you out of the servers basically.
FIFA's a nightmare. It's always trying to get you like, oh god.
Well, that's because it's a football game.
And Watch Dogs Legion as well. So it's like it just defeats the object of having quick resume. I find for stuff like that.
It was great for me when I did Assassins. That worked really well. That was great. Like Paul said, it's big open world, and it would just take me to where I was. Far Cry is the same at the moment. It's like instantly I'm back there. I don't have to worry about loading up again, and that's good. There's another big thing which I think is really good. It's a really important thing, and it's only come recently. Is Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision is a setting on TVs that you can have. It's a kind of better quality picture, and it's just a different way of looking at stuff. It's almost like HDR, but it's kind of like just more interesting. And PlayStation haven't got that. They're not supporting that. And Xbox are really clever doing that because Dolby Vision isn't just on high-end TVs; it's on low-end TVs as well. So they're very clever of having that option there to put it on there, so it doesn't become elitist. Yeah.
Is it likely to be on my 14-inch black and white portable?
No, I don't think it is, Paul. I think it is.
Just have a HDMI socket.
Yeah.
No, it's got like a bent coat hanger on the back.
But I think next year is going to be really exciting to see what it's going to do. I mean, especially towards maybe the autumn end when it's going to be Starfield and all those kind of big Series X on their own games. We've had Flight Sim. We're going to get quite a lot of them towards the end of next year, probably.
Oh, the other thing that I'll just mention as well is the Xbox Play Anywhere thing as well.
Oh yeah,
which I think is a really, really good move. So you can play. I mean, the ultimate thing of that is that you can play Xbox One X, Series X games on an Xbox One by streaming them. Which is just amazing. Fantastic because once you see how good the games are going to be, I would think you're much more likely to upgrade your console. And also the Play Anywhere bit where you can stream Game Pass games to your PC wherever you happen to be. As long as you've got a controller. I mean, my lunchtimes at work now fly by because I've just taken one of my Xbox One controllers into work, plug it into my laptop, and away we go. You know, you could play in Psychonauts 2 at lunchtime. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. There we go. All quite happy, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Good. I like it. Good. Very good. Right, gentlemen, let me just quickly say, we did, on the 100th episode, we had a competition. We had 4 codes for Unmetal to give out. Unmetal is a little indie game. And our winners were David R, Ray C, Mikhail R, and Mohammed J. I'm not giving their full names, but thank you for, you've got your codes already, I think. I hope you have. And we also were giving away a £25 Xbox Live voucher, and that went to Chris P. And I know Chris P is a fan of the podcast, big fan of the podcast, so well done for Chris. And our £50 Xbox Live voucher went to, how do you say that word? Renata B. Well done, Renata B. You won the £50. So thank you for everyone who entered. And that was good. Free stuff. We didn't get anything.
To the
we didn't
winners.
get nothing. We didn't get anything.
We got the warm glow of being on the 100th podcast.
Exactly. Good. What are we looking forward to next week from the 5th to the 12th? Paul?
Next week, I'm looking forward to going fishing. I'm going fishing at the weekend in real life. Other than that, just playing Forza Horizon 5 with you guys so you can see what I've seen.
Good. That's a good thing. Richard?
Yes, similar to that. I've got the premium edition, so I'm going to be logging in from midnight tonight. I've also, you mentioned it at the top of the show, but I am quite looking forward to the GTA trilogy remastered.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking forward to Skyrim as well, and I shouldn't be. I should be like you, Gareth. But I think if it was different games, I wouldn't be as excited. But Laura said to me, she was like, when I said that Skyrim was getting a 10-year anniversary, she was like, "Oh, you love that game, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I really do."
I think you should be proud, Richard. Don't listen to Gareth and his old man grumpiness. If you want to play the game, you play the game, mate.
Yeah,
he's right. He is right, though. We should be looking forward to new games, not remasters and stuff. But I think these are exceptions. I really do think these are exceptions.
Good. What am I looking forward to? I did this last week, Call of Duty. I haven't got it yet. That's why it's out tomorrow. I'll play that. That's what I'm looking forward to. Right, gentlemen, where can we find you if we want to speak to you? Paul, where can we find you?
I am on Twitter, and my handle is @XboxHubPaul.
Great. And Richard, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter @Dobbo1912.
And you can find me and Jimmy Briley on Twitter and Twitch. But for now, gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You had found all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter @TheXboxHub and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.